Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Pokemon. I'm back. So taking a long hiatus from Marvel Strike Force. A couple reasons for that. One, I wasn't really enjoying the game last time I played it. There wasn't a lot of communication from Fox Next. That has been changing. CM Cerebro, I think he's been doing a pretty good job right now. You could always maybe communicate a little more, but he's been doing a very good job nowadays in comparison to how things were in the past. Red Stars are still a little bit of a problem, but they're changing the curve on the stats for that, so it's going to be less of a problem. And like, I just forgot Red Stars exist. Like, I've forgotten they existed in the game, pretty much. And then on top of that, I was a little busy beforehand. It's kind of hard to make videos when you're in high school because your schedule kind of isn't set in stone in high school. Every day is really different. It's just sort of, do you have time to make a video that day? And I just really didn't most nights, or if I did, the last thing I wanted to do was make a video. But nowadays, the world's a little different right now. There's the corona outbreak currently, so I hope everyone's staying safe right now. You're quarantining if you need to. We're on a little bit of self-isolation right now. The big reason why I can do videos right now and why I've been playing Marvel Strike Force is I have no school for a good bit of time here. We're going to start online schooling in the next couple of weeks, but we just haven't had school for the past 2 weeks. So I have a lot of free time on my hands. I've been playing Marvel Strike Force. I've sort of been seeing what's new in the game, and I've been exploring all these new characters they've added, because they've added a ton of new characters, and it's a great time to come back to Marvel Strike Force right now because they have this awesome event going on right now for the 2nd anniversary. So if I go over to this, they have this incredible event. You get these, essentially you earn credits by playing in Blitz, Arena, spending energy, pretty much doing anything in the game. And you open up these orbs and they give you points to these milestones. You're probably not going to reach up to these milestones. Those milestones are a little ridiculous down at the bottom. But you're going to get a ton of character stars for these new characters. You're going to get some red stars, some of these purple credits, which actually I want to show you something. If you're spending these purple credits, I did not realize this until this morning when I accidentally scrolled down here. Oh, they're throwing offers. If you go to these orbs, I've just been buying this one right here. You can actually scroll down. There's a lot of different ones. You can buy them for different traits. I didn't even know these existed. I don't know if anyone else didn't realize that. Maybe it was just me. But if you're spending those and you need to level up specific characters, you can actually buy them for specific characters instead of just getting catalyst orbs. But a lot of stuff has changed in the game. There's a lot of new characters. Let me show you the roster. I'll show you what I'm working with. I'm going to talk about some of the teams I'm using currently. So let's scroll up to the top. We like to start with the top so you can see the big characters before we get down to the dozens of characters I do not have unlocked. So here's the team right here. And let's scroll down, give you a quick look at everyone I have. So I still have a pretty decent roster from when I used to play the game before. The only problem is most of these characters are out of meta at the moment. Defenders were a pretty crazy team when I left. They're not that crazy anymore. They're still good, but there's a lot of better teams out nowadays. So we keep on scrolling. Now here's all the characters I don't have. They've added a ton of cool characters like Mysterio, Toad, Ghost Riders down here, Cyclops, Mr. Sinister, Black Bolt. I mean, there's a ton of awesome characters they've added. So there's new teams nowadays, and I want to sort of take you through the team building process. And the team building process is really simple. Watch this. You're gonna go pick your favorite trait. What trait do you like? I'm a big fan of the Inhumans. So look, you click on Inhumans, you look at the Inhumans, that's your team right there. Now, Miss Marvel doesn't actually go with them, she sort of goes with the Brawlers team. But there you have an Inhumans team right there. Quake, Yo-Yo, Black Bolt, Crystal, Karnak. They have a meta right now where teams are sort of carbon copies of each other. For example, say you wanted to build a Wakandan team. You scroll down to Wakandan. Those are the 5 characters used for the Wakandan team. Defenders, they were sort of one of the first teams we saw that did this, and that's why they were so great when they first came out. They sort of had artificial synergy. So if you look at Iron Fist, he has this healing, but he only heals defenders, and then he'll heal one city hero ally. But you have characters that are very selective with who they decide to help out. Iron Fist, if you don't call yourself a defender, Iron Fist doesn't care about you. He's not going to heal you. So don't work with Iron Fist if you're not a defender, because he's not going to help you out. And we're seeing that with a lot of teams right now, where they have a lot of very specific characters they also help out. So it's sort of cool because you see teams that are meant to work together. The defenders are meant to be together, and it's cool to see them together in the game. But that's sort of bad because you can't just sort of build teams however you want if you want them to be at their max power. You sort of got to be following the best teams in the game. So now that you've seen my roster, I'm going to show you guys the first step. You look at who you have and you build some teams. So I'm going to go over to Blitz, show you the teams I have, so that way I can show you the save teams. So if we go over to here, here's my 4 save teams: Defenders, Guardians of the Galaxy, AIM, and Kree. Now, Defenders and Guardians of the Galaxy are pretty straightforward. Guardians of the Galaxy, there is Mantis. You can sub her in. I don't really like using Mantis. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a big Mantis fan, but some people do like using Mantis instead of one of these other characters. You know, especially in raids. I think Mantis heals a little more in raids, but AIM, that's if you're coming back to the game, you need to realize AIM is pretty crazy nowadays. You know, when I left, AIM was garbage. If you were leveling up AIM characters, you were kind of dumb because they were trash. Like, they were so bad. But they got a huge buff nowadays, and AIM are kind of crazy, especially with Scientist Supreme, and they're an excellent team. I advise you guys build. They're who I'm building right now. Because 1, they're all very farmable, and 2, if you played the game in the past, you probably already have all the AIM characters unlocked. It's just a matter of powering them up now. And then Kree, they were already becoming a team whenever I left. So again, you put Ronin with the other Kree minions. They're all very farmable. Now I do put Karath in here. Karath is somewhat controversial, you know, because again, the minions synergize very well with Ronin. Karath also synergizes well, but I think people could argue that a minion can't really do as much without Ronin, but Karath can do a little more without Ronin. So if you want the most out of all your characters, you'd probably put another Kree minion with Ronin, and then Karath could go on some other team. But I like Karath, I like using him, so I like to put him with Ronin, and Ronin still helps out Karath. So you sort of want to look at your roster, build some teams, and I think another thing to note is don't worry too much about power. Like, for example, AIM, there's hitting up and hitting down, or punching up, punching down, whatever you want to call it. AIM is capable of punching up. So punching up means, you know, say you have a team power of 50,000, you know, you can take on teams that are 70,000 if they don't have as crazy synergies as you do. You know, say it's just this sort of mishmash of a team of, like, you know, Yondu, Deadpool, Sabretooth, Spider-Man, and Black Widow. You know, you can probably punch up with the AIM because the AIM is so good nowadays, and that's what's great about building up some of those teams. Now, you do have to also worry about, you know, there are some teams that are more crazy than the AIM teams. You know, like Asgardians in some situations can be kind of crazy. So, you know, you might be punching down, you know, you might have to be like 70,000 power and then attacking a 60,000 power Asgardian team or something like that. So, you know, you have to keep that in mind. But some teams are so good they can actually punch up instead of fighting teams that are the same power. But when you're also looking at the roster, you know, you might still be a little confused about building teams. Well, here's this resource. I do like using msf.gg. You can see all the characters in here. I actually have a filter on right now, so let's clear the filters so you can see all the characters. This is a great way to go through, check a character's powers, you know, check them through the ranks. You know, how does Mr. Sinister work throughout all the ranks? But let's go back to all the characters. And what's even more helpful if you go to my teams, you can build teams in here, see synergies. But what's nice is Casino has these 20 teams he put in here that are sure to win teams. It's a little different nowadays. This is slightly out of date, but it's not that much out of date. It's still very accurate. And I think what's important to note here is a lot of teams, again, follow that synergy rule. Like Asgardians, it's always going to be this. Fantastic Four, it's always going to be this. Supernatural, it's always going to be these 5. What are some other examples of that? You know, Sinister Six, it's always going to be these 5. Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse team, it's always going to be these 5. The AIM, and once you get Graviton, it's always going to be these 5, which, can I say, very excited Graviton's in the game. I made a fan kit for him, so it's awesome to see him. You know, Defenders, it's always going to be these 5. You do have a couple teams that vary when they only have 4 characters in the team. Like, for example, the Marauders, they don't have a 5th member at the moment. So some people put in this mercenary here. You know, it sometimes varies who you put in for that 5th member. Power Armor, you know, Ironheart's going to be coming out and be the 5th member of Power Armor. But right now, you know, you can sort of put Vision in here. That can sometimes vary who you put in the 5th slot. And then X-Men, you know, there's a bunch of X-Men, so it can sometimes vary who you want to put into the X-Men team. But this is a very helpful look at the teams in the game. This can give you an idea of some of the best teams in the game right now. But if we go back to Marvel Strike Force, I've sort of showed you how I built my teams, and now I'm going to show you how I want to build up teams. So when you're building a team, I think it's important to keep in mind who the legendary characters are. Legendary characters are Iron Man, Nick Fury, Phoenix, Invisible Woman, Shuri, Magneto, and I think that's most of them. Oh, Black Bolt. And then they're going to have Ebony Maw soon, who's going to be another legendary character. I believe that's all of them. So they are important to keep in mind because any of those characters, the teams they belong on, are going to be really hard to build because you need to have those legendary characters to complete that team. You know, you want to use Fantastic Four. If you want them at their best, you're going to need Invisible Woman. You know, which is hard because if you're coming back to the game, you're probably not going to have the characters built up that you need to unlock Invisible Woman. You know, say you wanted to use the Brotherhood, it's kind of hard to do that unless you have Magneto, so you need to have the characters built up to unlock them. So keep that in mind when you're building teams. That's what makes the Kree nice. You don't need any legendary characters to build the Kree team, and what's nice is you can use the Kree team to unlock Nick Fury. Guardians of the Galaxy are a legendary character team. Star-Lord is one of them. I always forget he is a legendary character because he was so easy to unlock for me. I got a lot of Guardian shards very easy, so he's not a bad first legendary to farm for. AIM, another good team to build. They have no legendary characters in it. Defenders, another good team to build because they have no legendary characters. The Avengers do kind of have Iron Man depending on which version of the Avengers you build, but I don't advise building the Avengers because they're not that good right now. The Wakandans, not that great of a team to build because, again, you need a legendary character. The Spider-Verse, you do not need a legendary character. That's Spider-Man, Carnage, Venom, Miles Morales, and the Symbiote Spider-Man, but Symbiote Spider-Man isn't farmable at the moment, so that's kind of a hard team to build. Sinister Six is a team you can build, and they're a great team to build. So let's actually go over to them right now because, well, they have one character who's sort of hard to farm. And that's Mysterio because he is in he's raid, so he's a little hard to get, plus he's a 3-star unlock. But what's great about the Sinister Six is they're also Spider-Verse characters. So Spider-Verse characters are used to unlock Shuri. So these characters will work to unlock Shuri, but they're also Sinister Six characters, so they'll also work to unlock Invisible Woman. So they're great characters to build up if you're just coming back to the game. Once I get Green Goblin up, I'll have enough Spider-Verse characters to unlock Shuri, which is going to help me with the Wakandans. I actually have enough X-Men and Brotherhood right now to unlock Magneto. So you've looked at the game, you know the 3 or 4 teams you can build up, you know who you want to unlock, you're trying to go for those teams that don't require legendary characters. The next most important thing is to then start looking to those legendary characters, and you need to look to who I need to farm to get them. So right now, Sinister Six are who I'm going to be farming up a lot, especially Green Goblin, so I can get Shuri next time she comes around. So those are sort of the 3 steps, look to build teams. Then, once you've looked at who you have, look to build new teams. Try to make sure you're not using legendary characters in those teams because legendary characters are sort of hard to come by, just sort of if you're starting from scratch. And then third, once you know who to build for that, I then start looking to build teams around legendary characters and starting to farm up the characters you need to unlock legendary characters. But again, that's what makes Kree great to build, because you can use them to unlock Nick Fury, which then lets you get S.H.I.E.L.D. characters. And if you're building up S.H.I.E.L.D., you can then unlock Iron Man with those characters. Sinister Six, another great team to build up because of the 2 different legendary characters you can unlock. So those are some of the best teams to go for if you're starting out. And that's sort of my advice for now for the game. I don't have to talk a ton about, how to build specific teams because, again, you just follow the traits. It's really just who has the same traits, you put them on the team together because they generally only help out characters that have their same trait. But now's a great time to come back to Marvel Strike Force because of all the really cool events going on. And I hope this sort of helped you guys get started if you've come back to Marvel Strike Force. I might be doing some more videos here and there. I don't know if I'm going to be back to do videos permanently because, again, once life sort of returns to normal, I don't really know if I can do videos as easily. But it's sort of fun to do videos right now when I have some free time, and I'll probably put out some more videos soon. I hope everyone's staying safe. And with that being said, what do I know, guys? I am only an 18-year-old. Have a nice day.